3, heading down.
Hell country, here I come. I've been away way too damn long. I got the pedal to the metal and I'm rolling down to A1. Oh, hell country, here I come.
Hello, ma'am.
For Catty Cat Video Productions, I'm John Wozniak Jr. Join us for another of Don Skinner's motorcycle journeys. Fully vaccinated, Scott, and armed with our masks, we're back on the road. Last April, we went to the Texas Fandango, which is an antique motorcycle swap meet, vintage racing, and a bunch of other things, all going on down in Fredericksburg, Texas. You guys from the Cherokee chapter are actually running it this year, correct?
That's right, John. This is our second year to put the Fandango on at the Gillespie County Fairgrounds.
Right.
And the event is getting big. We have a big swap meet, a vintage motorcycle show, a chopper show, great racing. We have flat track, mini bike racing.
There's no question about it. I mean, I think you guys sold close to 5,000 tickets this year. You had several hundred vendors. A lot of people call that searching for the right part. For me, it looks like a lust for rust, and there's some good, poking around in there. But and then they're vendors as far away as the other side of the world, all the way from New Zealand, right? So
that's right. And then as a finale, we ride our vintage bikes through the hills and some of the most beautiful motorcycle riding in the country. So everyone looks forward to that.
Well, that's what West Texas is known for, Bandera County, ranch to road riding. Three Twisted Sisters is out there. There's the city loop to get you through to see the Bluebonnets. And there's a lot of good local German history there. The breweries are very appealing to someone like me, born and raised on sausage and suds coming out of eastern Pennsylvania. So that's all good stuff. And everybody should make the trip to Luckenbach at least once. So as this rolls on, we hope that you guys enjoy this and book your calendar for when?
The first weekend of April. We plan on this being an annual event down there, and everybody's really looking forward to it.
So we'll see you next April in Fredericksburg. Peace. Vendor support this year was huge. Merchandising, right? Oh, there's Cannonball interest as always. Scott, are you riding in the Cannonball this year?
I won't make the Cannonball. I'm going to try to ride the Chase with them.
You're going to ride the Chase, and
yes.
Then we'll say that's what the Chase is. And here's a lot of fellows. Do we know where these guys were from, Don?
Arizona.
Those were the Arizona boys, right? Do we have anything? What does that say on the trailer? His logo is on the trailer in the back. Here's Kiwi Indian.
Yes, there, Mike. He's explaining something to you using his hands.
The Indian made a big change in 1935.
That's a beautiful bike right there. That's a total replica right there. Yep, and for about $80,000 or $90,000, folks, that can be yours too. Scott, how many bikes did you actually set up? I think you were responsible for every one of them.
I think we totaled 116 bikes inside the barn for our show, and plus all the choppers that we had outside. We had a show out there, probably 75 bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, John, here we have a Harley-Davidson Cervicar, still in original condition. That's just something you'd never dream of seeing, with it still complete like that. And back then they used this to go out and get cars to bring in for service. They would hook this motorcycle on the back.
So in about 1950, Mr. Goodwrench would ride to the house. And
yes, come get your car, take it in for service. They could unhook the bike.
Oh my.
And while they're performing service, they could go after another one.
Mm-hmm. Now here's the Scott, right? This is a two-stroker from 1927. Boy.
Just amazing craftsmanship there to build that bike back
Well,
when
they're cool. And this bike we're familiar with, and we know that that sold at auction recently for $860. Here's one of the Flying Merkles. These are reported to be $1 million plus if they sell. Scott, we saw this bike a couple years ago up at Davenport, the Pope.
Yes.
The fellas from television were trying to buy it, Mike Wolf and his brother, but it was a no sale then, and somebody did pick it up at auction. The Crocker right here, this is an expensive piece right here. This is big American horsepower and muscle from the day, and 860,000 I think it sold. And
that is quite the collection right there, and it's owned by one of our Cherokee members, and all those bikes are in pristine condition and running.
yeah, that looks like a mid-30s Henderson inline 4, which later was
Four-cylinder
sold.
Excelsior, I think.
Oh, is that an Excelsior?
Excelsior.
Oh my, okay. And then here's one of your bikes, Scott. This
Here's
is
a couple of bikes I brought down to put in the show, and I just finished the 51 here to getting this one ready for Paul and I to make some of the national road runs on.
Yeah, I'm glad you put another seat on there for Paul. I don't think the two of you'd fit together real well on that chummy seat.
Well, we've ridden the chummy seat, but it's a little too chummy, she thinks, after get a few miles on us during the day. So I made Paula's perch for that 51.
That's very nicely done. Here's the guy that built this, out of parts, right? It's a Yamaha 650 of, kind of a throwback for a dirt tracker. And a couple of mini bikes for the wee ones to go bombing around at events. And during the entire 3 days we were here, we saw all kinds of mini bikes and Honda Groms and all that little stuff wandering around the Gillespie County Fairgrounds. There's an interesting motorcycle. Someone
It's like
is
an all
running.
original 4.
It is. It's original condition, original paint, and running. And
Quite valuable, I'd say.
this bike here is significant.
That'd be a Vincent.
That would be
yes.
the Vincent. That's significant. There's a fellow with a yellow shirt there waving his hand at somebody. So
Well,
handsome man that he is. The Chopper Show is new this year.
it's new this year, and it went over big. We had, I think, around 75 choppers showed up, and they had a ball. It was really enjoyable. Those guys know how to build motorcycles.
What was interesting was watching some of these guys race these particular bikes in the dirt drag race in front of the grandstand. And we've got some footage of that, and of course, they're pushing clutch pedals and shifting gears and then reaching all the way back to the top. And there was a heavy staple of afternoon flat track racing, and it wasn't all just 750 Harleys. There were quite a few small engine Ducatis and Yamahas that were period correct from the time, lots of Indians as well. So it's nice to see them running, and the guys keep them going. And they had a big awards ceremony at the end of the day. The color guard was provided by the Civil Air Patrol. That was a nice touch. So it was
Great weather. Everybody just enjoyed these flat track races. To see these old bikes and the guys, the way they ride them, it was sure enjoyable for the crowd.
there you go. That's the rider's perspective of what it looks like, and then that's us carefully seated in the shade up in the grandstands. So from flat tracking, right, we're going to transition, and we should be seeing the fellas coming along here with some of the dirt drag racing.
Here we go. And who would ever think you would see choppers drag racing on dirt, John? These guys had a ball. Now when there are mini bikes, and we're running these around a small track right down in front of the
And
audience.
it was fairly competitive here, as you can clearly see. There were no kids competing for these things.
Now here we have our podium for the flat track racers, our winners, and giving them the awards. And we move towards Sunday morning, and we're going to have a vintage motorcycle run through the hills down there.
That's a very nice machine right there, right? 1951. Is that a Roadmaster or just a Chief?
That's a Roadmaster, and I've just completed that one, trying to get it tuned in and get it running right.
Now, did you build this one? This one I did, yeah.
This bike has been in his family. His father rode it, coming on since it was purchased brand new, and he's from the local area. He was great fun to spend time with. There's something not as classic, but a nod to
Moto
Moto Guzzi.
Yeah.
Always enjoyed the Guzzies. And here's the fellas heading out. Quite a few Harleys limping by, and there's our one and only Scott. Look at that. There's another Harley. Right there's Kiwi. Right. So those are the folks that actually. That's the BMW couple. Right. They're the sponsors of the one of those long distance rides. So this is
Great
all been
fun had by all.
Absolutely.
Catty cat. That means that you go somewhere, just do it.